Did you know everything that you read, including the reading section of the SAT, has tone, style, and technique? No, tone, style, and technique are not the latest trending celebrity baby names, but they are qualities that affect how the reader can be influenced by the text. In this lesson, we'll go over passage-based questions on the SAT, narrowing in on tone, style, and technique questions. Let's begin with tone. The questions about tone reflect on how the author feels about the topic he or she is writing about. Authors use tone to persuade readers towards specific feelings, judgments, or opinions. Understanding the tone reveals the purpose of the passage. There are two reasons that tone questions seem more difficult than others. You'll be reading these passages quickly, so that may make it hard to pick up on the tone. Secondly, if you don't know the words that are being used to express the tone, it'll be tough trying to answer the tone questions. Luckily, aside from learning as much vocab as possible, there are some other strategies that you can apply. Let's start by making sure you know the type of passage you're reading. Remember, there are two types of passages: narrative and nonfiction. When you're reading a narrative passage, you're more likely to encounter answer choices with tone words such as reflective, nostalgic, appreciative, wistful, or transformative. Knowing commonly used tone words will increase your chances of answering questions correctly, since you can use them to guide your attention as you read. The nonfiction essays or excerpts cover a broad range of topics within the social sciences, humanities, and sciences. These passages may include some emotionally charged tone words, but you're more likely to see tone words similar to skeptical, optimistic, cynical, and informative. Here's a pro tip. You can safely expect the answers to be politically correct, generally using complimentary words and those that are positive or moderate in tone. If an option seems a bit radical, chances are it's not the right answer choice. The SAT is testing your reading comprehension, not trying to rock the boat. Let's go through an example together. While normally you'd be reading the entire passage on your own, I'm here to show you how to get the right answer using clues and strategies. So for now, we'll jump straight to the question and answer choices and then bring up the passage after, instead of reading through the whole passage together. The question reads, the author's overall tone in this passage is best described as one of A, frustration, B, disappointment, C, curiosity, or D, appreciation. If we bring up the passage, we can start hunting for indications of tone. We find the author is pleased with the graces of winter in the line, I please myself with the graces of the winter scenery. If we skim some more, we see the author finds beauty in every moment. If we keep skimming all the way down, we land on one more tone hint where the author observes a pleasant river. So we know that beauty, being pleased, and having pleasant rivers definitely hint toward a positive tone. We can immediately cross out all of the answer choices with negative connotations. So eliminate A, frustration, and B, disappointment. D, appreciation, is positive and seems to fit with our tone hints. C is neutral, neither positive nor negative. Since pleased and beauty are strongly positive, we can cross off C. So our answer choice is D, appreciation. The author's overall tone in this passage is best described as one of appreciation. Now, let's take a look at style questions. Style questions refer to how the author uses literary devices to organize and share material in the passage. The SAT will ask if the author used metaphors, similes, personification, sarcasm, or irony. You're being tested on whether you know these terms as well as if you can recognize when they're being used. If you don't remember what each of the terms means or how it's applied, you'll definitely want to revisit this information, which you can do in the lecture notes from this lesson. Here's a typical question on the SAT. In the last paragraph of passage 2, lines 97 through 111, the author uses a simile to describe A, the destruction she saw all around her, B, the challenge of remaining upright, C, the cacophonous sounds of her possessions being displaced, or D, the momentous feeling of loss. I'm sure you remember from English class that a simile is the comparison of one thing to another in order to describe it. We'll cheat a bit so we don't have to read the entire passage by jumping to the simile. The simile in this paragraph is where the author writes, "The floor moved like short, choppy waves of the sea." What point is the author making by the use of this simile? Well, imagine trying to stand on ocean waves. Not possible, right? That's exactly the point. So our answer is B, the challenge of remaining upright. All right, almost there. Let's move on to technique questions. Technique is similar to style in the sense that both focus on how the author presents information. The difference is that technique questions are easy to spot because instead of using literary terms, they refer to elements that are visible in the passage itself. Technique questions ask if the author used a lot of specific examples, statistical evidence, quotes, citations, or anecdotes in the passage. Basically, the SAT wants you to identify how the author proves his or her statements. Here's a typical example of a technique question on the SAT. In lines 30 through 36, the author of passage 2 quotes the preamble to the Constitution in order to A. Provide a historical overview, B. Imply that the Constitution is unfair to women, C. Elicit sympathy for her position, or D. Give strength and authority to her argument. Let's look at the passage, keeping in mind we've read the famous preamble and can now jump directly after it. The author says in the very next line, it was we, the people, not we, the white male citizens, but we, the whole people, who formed the Union. That alone gives you enough to understand why the author used such a powerful document to D, give strength and authority to her argument. We know this because the author is building on what the quote means, thus strengthening the argument. It was not to provide historical overview as answer choice A suggests. Answer choice B is incorrect because the author is not implying that the Constitution is unfair, but that its fairness should be upheld better. And finally, answer choice C is incorrect because the author does not try to appeal to emotion or sympathy. We've now reviewed the tone, style, and technique questions that you'll encounter on the SAT passages. The best way to make sure that you've got all this information down for test day is to do some sample problems. So, check out the activities in this section.